Kristy Putnam. She's a certified wellness coach, inspiring empowered self-care made simple. A senior trainer of Tai Chi Easy. Kristy's passion is to teach others to activate the healer within through mindful moving, meditation, and breath. Kristy Putnam.
How Tai Chi healed me. At the turn of the millennium, I discovered Tai Chi, although I didn't really understand what it was until years later. I operated a retreat center on the shore of Lake Michigan, hosting wellness educators. During one of the first classes, I was mesmerized by how I felt after just a moment of simply moving my arms slowly and breathing deeply. I memorized one of the mindful movements that day, and I started a moving meditation practice of sorts. I was inspired to feel more of that peace and power. I would walk out the side door of that giant pink house on top of a sand dune, 77 stair steps high. Out back was an even taller hill in the woods that I would climb. With each step up, the sand would shift. As I would fall back half as far as I moved forward, my progress seemed hindered, but I kept going. Finally, arriving at the top, I would feel a shift inside as I saw my ceremony tree with her triangular cavern rotted away, exposing dirt inside. I would sit in front of the opening and rearrange a large pile of rocks. Over the following year, each day I moved the stones around, I would feel my insides adjusting to change. And then I would breathe deeper, moving my arms slowly, the way I learned in that class. The slow climb up the hill, the tree with a womb, the moving rocks, all describe my path through life. It was a ritual I practiced, preparing me for courageous self-expression. So it doesn't get much more courageous than letting go of that house and healing community, loading a few belongings into a truck, and setting out with no destination, no plan, and no savings. It was a calling to adventure that began a 20-year odyssey of self-discovery. I may not have understood where I was going or why, but it's clear now that I was on a wellness pilgrimage. I went from state to state, engaging with the diverse communities. I learned that I wanted to make a difference through my collaborations, to connect authentically and inspire healing. Mostly, I had questions and the blessing of curiosity. My quest for belonging led me to New York City, the place I found my answers, much to my surprise. In 2006, having found myself working at a retreat center just outside the city, I took one of the workshops about something called Tai Chi. I had found my teacher, and he was well on his way to building a legacy, a method of empowering self-care through traditional Chinese medicine. Later that year, I took his month-long instructor certification and vowed my life to supporting his work. At the next workshop, I sat in the back of the room and typed every word my teacher said, and helped work up the first facilitator manual. I followed my teacher to retreats all over the country for several years, becoming a trainer. I worked closely with him and our colleagues to build a research institute and a nonprofit to teach the masses. My teacher was like a father to me, and I grew into adulthood grateful for his friendship and generosity to create a social movement of wellness. I stopped teaching in Manhattan when my much younger sister asked me to move home back to the Midwest. I started a couple of businesses, kept teaching Tai Chi. I felt the convergence of my life experiences and my mission. My life was by my design. I was free to express myself courageously and make my contribution, my heart happy. I was living as a work of art, creating love all around me. And then, just a few months after achieving my dream, a brain injury sent me into a period of adversity, and I disappeared into intensive rehabilitation. Just a year and a half into my recovery, I reconnected with my teacher, who convinced me to join the advisory board, despite my strong concerns about my new physical and mental limitations. As I predicted, I was not able to contribute in the way my teacher wanted. When I said I couldn't change my abilities, he asked me not to volunteer at the next retreat. I canceled my flight and returned the video equipment I had purchased to record his last 3 levels of training. I heard my teacher make a side comment, "You have the same disability as your colleague who fell off a horse." In his tone, it was as if I could hear him writing me off, the ink pen scratching a line through my name. It made sense that the stigma surrounding mental illness would make it easy to cross me off the list of faculty being groomed for advancement. But wow, did it hurt. I was still healing. I couldn't alter my offer, and my teacher chose not to have me assist any longer. That's what happened. Everything else is my story, my opportunity to grow. I began to peel away the layers of forgiveness for myself, of my teacher, and of the man who caused my brain injury, perhaps all the men who ever subjugated me to their will or blocked my contribution. What I have learned is that there are always blessings in the challenges, and I can alter my way of being to bring peace, to love myself and others without judgment. I thank those who have hurt me for the strength they have helped me find. I discovered that I take issue when others block my offers to give. Contributing is how I express my love, and it's a primary need. I'm the party guest who washes the dishes to make herself useful because that's what I enjoy. I had to learn to stand in grace and ease, rooted in my conviction of compassion and forgiveness, self-love most of all. Overcoming the lifelong issue of being overly courteous, I decided I no longer needed permission to live my life. There was no one who could tell me that it wasn't okay to crawl through the muddy swamp of my fears, to face the rumor mill, to wash myself clean of their projections. Standing in confidence, I registered to review the next training, unannounced. By the time I landed in Texas, it had been a few years of processing my rejection, unsuccessfully seeking reconciliation with my teacher. I sat in the front row. The week-long training was followed by an equally large reunion gathering of my colleagues, as this was my teacher's last training before passing the baton. A colleague commented how brave I was to return, and how powerful it was for me to offer a touching surprise retirement presentation for my teacher, the man who expelled me from my community of contributors. The stigma was strong, but my love for myself and others was stronger. And now, just as I did 20 years ago on top of that sand dune, I rearranged the pieces of me into a rock sculpture of harmony and balance. I courageously take the next step and the next, perhaps falling backwards half as far as I climb. But I keep going. These days, I'm called an expert presenter and know that the time is now to create my own certification training with my teacher's blessing.